When I was a child growing up, well, I've been told so many things that I think I remember when I was 3 years old, but I think it's because I was told about them. I'm not sure.
Where were you born exactly?
I was born in Springfield, Massachusetts, on Spring Street, in the 21st of June. Do I have to tell the year?
That's up to you.
1908. So that makes me 85 at the time. I don't usually broadcast my age. I think no woman does. But when I was 1 year old, my folks took me to Germany, to my mother's mother, my wonderful grandmother, and left me there, and took my eldest brother back with them. They brought him along, and then I don't know why they left me. I always thought that it was perfectly all right, that everybody goes to their grandmother when they're young. I had 7 uncles and 3 aunts, and it was a wonderful little house. They had a goat that they brought in when it was cold out, and they had animals, and I had a wonderful grandfather who used to be the Burgermeister, and every day he came home, he had a little bunch of strawberries in his hat band, and he would pick me up, and I would take the strawberries. That was a ritual, and it was a loving thing for him to do, and I don't remember too much of anything else.
What town was it?
This was Kirchheim, London. It's a little town right outside of Frankfurt, and a lovely little town. I've been to see it since. Quite a few years ago, I went to Germany to meet Joe when he was in the Air Force, and we went there to see the house and the aunts, who are now, of course, I don't know what age they'd be. What would they be now? 7 years ago. They were in their 60s, I guess, and they were very nice, and the uncles, and I had an album of all my uncles, but somehow that got destroyed during a flood of the Connecticut River, where we were living in Springfield. I had put everything in the basement because I thought there were too many pictures on the wall, and I guess the album was destroyed too. I'm not sure just how that happened.
Were you living with your parents?
Oh, sure. When they brought me back, I was living with them.
No, I mean when the flood happened.
Oh, I was in training at that time. And I came home to see the destruction. Most people just walked away from it. But my family put everything outside, and brushed it and cleaned off the mud, and rescued the furniture. Our furnace was damaged, of course. It was into water, and so was the refrigerator. We had to get new things, and it was quite devastating, but they faced it and redid the house to a degree, and it was just I think it was an example of their courage and to face the fact and not just run away from it.
Not just leave it behind.
What?
And not just leave it behind.
Right.
So, tell me more about what you remember when you were in Germany.
Well, I don't really remember much. They've told me a lot. When I was on the ship going over with my mother, I had a handkerchief that was given to me in Germany, and somehow I was waving it in the breeze, and it went over the edge and flew away, and I was a little disappointed about that. But I really don't have many. You're at 3 years old, you somehow tell things that you have been told, but you really don't remember much. I remember when they got me home to Springfield, Mass, where I was born. I was 3 by that time, and my brother showed me off because I couldn't speak English, and he thought I was sort of an oddity. I just spoke German, and I don't think I liked being home in America as much as I did in Germany. But they were my parents, and I had to go with them. I missed my grandmother, of course.
Yeah, because you had spent so much your early
Yeah,
years
2
with her.
years, yes. At 2 years of age, I sang every German song that was ever written. I knew all the words, and now I can't carry a tune very well. I don't know, I think my education was neglected as far as singing was concerned, but maybe I really didn't have a great voice. But I think every child should have some sort of musical outlet, either having an instrument of some kind to play, or to sing, or to know music. Do you think so? Do you think that?
I agree, yeah.
Well, you play the
Guitar.
guitar, and you sing.
Yeah, I think it's a very healthy outlet.
I think we should pay more attention to that when children are young, to see that they're educated in that respect. I don't want to be talking for this this purpose. I don't want to sound different. I want to sound perfectly natural, which I'm trying to do. And I guess I finally grew up in Springfield, Mass, and our family moved to many different places.
Well, your father was a restaurateur.
Yeah, he was. He was a restaurateur, and he was from Hamburg, Germany. And he was, when he learned his trade here in America, he put all he had into it, learned everything. And my mother was a marvelous person. She went along with anything that he decided to do. And
She was German also, right?
oh yeah, she was from Frankfurt. That's where we were, you see, with her family at the time that I was brought over, and then they came back without me and came back to get me. But I don't really know I just knew that I missed Germany and I missed my grandmother, but that's natural when you grow up. And
Right. How long did you, so you started to go to school then here a couple of years later?
Yes, they didn't have a pre-kindergarten there or kindergarten. I started in first grade. By that time we were back in Springfield. And I tried my best to be like my older brother, who was 3 years older than I was. And he was a great student. He was like an A student, and always was during school. But I was more out for the arts. I wanted to learn to draw, and I loved color, and I wanted to design things as I grew up. So I went to Tech High after trying 2 other high schools. I tried classical and commerce, which didn't seem to be the ones for me. And my brother said, why don't you go to our high school, Technical High in Springfield, Mass. And it was the greatest high school in the world. And from there I went into training to Holyoke, Mass.
So what were you taught in high school? I mean, what was the trade or technical skill that you were taught?
I knew I didn't learn anything too much that I probably would have benefited by, but I knew the names of all the stones, all the flowers, all the trees, and I could tell a tree by its leaf.
Really?
And they taught you all that. But the biggest thing I did was to take a history course with it. We had to. I don't mean history. I did take history. The chemistry class is what saved my life, because when I left high school and went into training, that's what saved me, having had the background of chemistry. You had to have that to get into the school. And there was an opening, and they had wanted a seventh student for the grade that was just going in. And they took me because I had to make up 2 weeks' work. It was 2 weeks late in getting in, but I stayed for 3 years and graduated. And after the graduation, it wasn't long before I went to New York to visit and went on a registry there.
Who were you visiting in New York?
I was visiting friends of my mother. She was visiting too. She said, "Why don't you come along and see how you like New York? Maybe you could go on a registry and get a job if you'd like to." And I thought that was a great idea, and it's exactly what happened. I got a case, right, a private case right away.
Oh, so you'd already gone to nursing school?
Oh, I had finished nursing school by this time.
So you
3 years.
right out of high school you went to nursing school?
Yes, right.
Where was the nursing school?
In Holyoke, Massachusetts, the greatest training school in the world, I think. Of course, everybody thinks their own training school is the best. It was 100 years old a few years ago, but it was not taking any more students. They had closed it down. But it did last 100 years in a beautiful location on a hill, and it was a lovely town. Holyoke was a paper making town, and I really think I had the best of all things during my younger years. I liked where I lived. I liked training, and I think every nurse, every person, every girl should have a little training in nursing so she knows how to handle her family. If she can take 3 years, that's good, but we can't all be nurses. But I think they should teach the caring of children in the home when you're young. They also taught eatings. Culinary, they had that, yes, and they had, when you know all about vitamins and everything.
You mean they taught nutrition and...
Yes, nutrition. That's a very important thing, disease nutrition. I had, as I said before, I had the chemistry, and that didn't help with nutrition exactly, but nutrition was taught when I went into training, and how to feed people, how to take care of them, how to be a good person in the world. I think it's one of the, and so many people say to me, "Oh, you were a nurse?" I said, "Yes, I've always wanted to be a nurse." It's every woman's wish to be a nurse. At some point, it's a natural desire, I think, to take care of people.
Yeah, I think probably women have more that the motherly instinct.
Yes, that's right. It's everything you need to be a mother and household person.